welcome to Oz Talk. It's a new year. It's a new us. It's the same Oz Club with a refreshed look. And we're back with our first episode of the year. We're thrilled to be here. We're going to be covering some great Oz hot topics. Let's say hello to our co-host panel. It's Garrett, Tori, Zoe. How you all doing?
Good.
Great.
Good, yeah.
Excellent. Zoe, you are proudly sipping out of your cup of joe, which is merch from our friends over at Down the Yellow Brick Pod, Tara and MK. They've got a great shop over there for their shop, their merchandise. It's Etsy, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And when you become a Patreon of Down the Yellow Brick Pod, they do a lot of promotions where you get discounts and things. But before we get into all of our hot topics, I just want to remind everyone that we are here as part of Oz Talk on behalf of the Oz Club. Since the 1950s, the International Wizard of Oz Club has been bringing fans together. Head over to the all-new ozclub.org to check it out and join. And later in the show, Zoe's going to tell you all the benefits of becoming an Ozian when you join the Oz Club. That's right. We've got this from the Bomb Bugle. We learned from our esteemed editor, Sarah, last year. Hopefully she'll be joining us again sometime this season. But it's this year, 2022, is an anniversary for Oz, as is often the case with so many Oz books, esteemed Oz books, that have centennial anniversaries. This year is the 100-year anniversary of the classic Kabumpo in Oz, written by Ruth Plumly Thompson, founded on and continuing the famous Oz stories by one L. Frank Baum. You may have heard of him. So, full disclosure, I'm not a Ruth fan, but without being ruthless, let's discuss what we think of her and this book in particular. Garrett's going to give us a full review. So before we get there, Zoe, what are your thoughts of Kabumpo in Oz or Ruth Plumly Thompson continuing Baum's series?
I'm not a huge fan of her work. I'm not a fan of her writing. I'm not saying she's a bad writer. She just doesn't write in a way that speaks to me. But I will say Kabumpo, to me, is probably one of her more enjoyable books just because it's a little more benign. It doesn't have the underlying racism issues that some of her others do. But so this one's overall a cute book, doesn't feel particularly Ozzy, but it's at least fun and pretty straightforward and clean.
For sure. Tori, how about you?
So you hit the nail right on the head about her work just not feeling Ozzy. While she did attempt to carry on the legacy of L. Frank Baum's work, and I believe this is the 16th book in the canonical Oz series, for me, her work just doesn't read the same. It doesn't come across like she knows the world quite as well as L. Frank Baum did, and who could? He really invented it. Yeah, but I toss it back to you because I have nothing particularly cogent to add.
No, I hear ya. It's I think after reading the 14 by Baum and loving them so much, and then buying all of Thompson's books and starting to read them, I just didn't find the appeal. I felt that her style was so different, and her tone, especially of Oz, for the characters, for the adventure, and their attitudes were so much more biting and cutting that it was not appealing to me. And I didn't read them because, frankly, who has the time? There's so many things we want to see and do and read that, we're calling ourselves Oz historians, to be an all things Oz historian, to be an Oz historian, we all kind of have our specializations. I do a lot of interviews with celebrities, and I love the movies and adaptations and music of Oz. Certainly a Baum purist in many ways, but I think we all have different aspects. Garrett, you're more into the books. Zoe and Tori, you have huge collections as well too, but we're all kind of all things Oz. We can comment on. But Garrett, what do you think about Ruth in particular as continuing the Oz series, and then let us know about Kabumpo?
Okay, so full disclosure, I have not read all of Ruth's books. I read through Royal Book of Oz, actually both last year and the year before. I've read through Kabumpo. I've started a couple others and never quite managed to get through, partially because of time. So full disclosure there, I can't speak to her later works. I do feel like she's grown between Royal Book and Kabumpo. Sort of as an author, it's the first book that's actually credited to her specifically as being solely hers. Royal Book was solely hers, but it's the first time we get a book with her name right there on the title. It's a fun adventure overall. It follows a pattern that it starts a pattern that she kind of continues through her later books. There's a lot more European fantasy to it, with the fairy tales and enchanted princes and enchanted princesses, and there's a lot more of that, which is really kind of indicative, I think, of a lot of 1920s children's literature in general. So she's not at the level of Baum. I think she aims at a slightly younger audience than Baum aimed at. So it's a very different style. It's kind of comparing apples and oranges. So I don't want to like totally bag on her. I'm not sure she's my cup of tea per se, but I know there are a lot of people that like her better than Baum, and that's perfectly valid. There's 2 editions that are sort of readily available. There's the Del Rey, which I know has been reprinted a couple of times. There's of course a good old Riley and Lee. I've got both the Del Rey. I had to use the Del Rey for the synopsis to remind me. And my edition of the Riley and Lee is kind of funny because it has a major printing error. They bound it upside down. So if you ever actually see me and I'm having to read it, it looks like I don't know what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
But there is a new edition coming by, I think it's Clover, maybe? The same group that did the new Royal Book of Oz a couple of years ago is doing a newly illustrated Kabumpo this year. So...
Books of Wonder makes a facsimile of the first edition.
Books of Wonder has the facsimile too, which I think is available in some Barnes and Nobles still.
Yeah, it was part of that lost book wave that we saw.
Yeah, there was a weird wave about 2 years ago where like they found a whole bunch of Royal Book, Kabumpo, and Merry-Go-Round in like a warehouse somewhere. And so out of nowhere, you could find 2 Thompson books on a shelf in a bookstore in hardback. It was kind of bizarre, but
right. Yeah. We've got a few people watching. Alan Schillingberg says hello. Thanks for watching. If anybody's watching that wants to comment on Ruth Plumly Thompson as an Oz author or Kabumpo in Oz, any thoughts about that on its centennial anniversary, let us know in the comments. We'll get you up here. Thanks for watching live. And next, why don't we move and talk about something else that we've all been very excited about ongoing, which is the film adaptation of Wicked, of course, starring Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, Ariana Grande as Glinda. We're looking forward to that. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm sure the rest of us are, to hear upcoming other casting announcements. We might not get them until it goes into production. And it just kind of pops up on IMDb. But there's a clip I want to show you. I discovered something on YouTube. You may have already seen it. If not, we're going to watch it together and react. But also there's a production that launched in September of last year, 2021, of Wicked in Hamburg, which reinterpreted in costume, design, set, and choreography of the show. And here are some of the photos. And I think they're really interesting. We see what looks to be an Emerald City scene here. This must be Defying Gravity, a very different background and position on the broom there. As Long as You're Mine, of course, right there. I kind of love Fiyero in his purple and the red-headed Elphaba. Here's the great confrontation. It looks like it's about to be for good at the end of the show. And this must be Dancing Through Life, which looks more Clueless than Wicked to me. But what do you guys think?
I
really like. Oh, go ahead, Tori.
Sorry, I was gonna say I really love this. Wicked, like any major musical in the United States, if it goes on tour, if it goes to a different city, they basically copy paste what's happening in New York and just adapt it to fit so that it can fit in smaller venues. So the fact that this Hamburg production, first of all, I've heard they've also changed some of the arrangements of the music. It's much more a rock musical than the traditional book musical that we have here. And I think it's fantastic. I've always said about whether it's L. Frank Baum's books, the 1939 film, we have to allow room in adaptation for change and for reinterpretation. Otherwise, these works become stale, dated, and they die. And I think actually Phantom of the Opera is a good juxtaposition. Has not changed a thing with the exception of some wig styles since the 80s, and some of it is laughably dated. So I like to see that it's changing and evolving with time.
Yeah, I think it's fun too. One of the things I like is when a show goes away and then is revived to see how it can be differently done. What are your thoughts?
I personally am all for non-replica productions of just about everything. There's one show that's an exception, but that's another story for another time.
What is it?
The chorus line. It's the
All
only
right.
one that I want the original for. But otherwise, no, I am all for
Good story. Good
the
choreo.
I am all for non-replica productions because there are so many other ways to tell the story. And honestly, I mean, I love Wicked. I've seen it half a dozen times now, but I'm really ready to see something new and different that looks different. And especially when you get into some of the European productions, they can get really, really avant-garde and interesting with what they do. There was the Helsinki production like 20 years ago that had all these weird orbs and eggs and had cool flying effects and put Dorothy right in the middle of the action. And it was really interesting just because it was different. And I loved that. I'm all for it.
Right. And we'd like to honor Black History Month and the historic casting of Brittany Johnson taking over the role of Glinda on Broadway, and she's phenomenal. And I noticed it looked like, and I could be wrong, but it looked like they've refreshed some of the costumes in the show, Glinda's and others. It looks like Madame Morrible's has morphed a little bit more craftiness here and there. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but Zoe, what are your thoughts of this Hamburg production about Brittany Johnson and the rest?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be the person that's different here. Like I agree with Garrett. I am all for non-replica. I'm all for new. Something about this production doesn't work for me. I think it looks too modern. I think it looks the whole thing that makes Wicked so wonderful is that it is so of another world. This puts it almost too close to our world, which I get that maybe they're trying to pull a parallel to be like, you know, Glinda and Fiero are just like any other college student or high school student. But it just kind of, to me, it feels like it lacks a lot of the whimsy. Like I don't, Elphaba's dress I like. It's kind of reminiscent of Susan Hilferty's original with some new twists. She's a slightly different shade of green. I like the red hair. I think Elphaba looks really Ozzy, but like this dress here, I feel like they went to Deb and bought a 2007 prom dress and threw some big flowers on it. I know.
That's right.
I mean, props to them for trying something new and going original. Personally, it's like with Thompson. It doesn't work for me. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not for me. But oh my God, Brittany Johnson, if you've not seen clips of her, she's one of the best Glindas we've had in a really long time. Mm-hmm. She's got such a command of the role. And that kind of brings to the idea of the refreshing costume. Something I love about Wicked is they do refresh every so often. Like if you notice, her wig is a different shade of blonde than Kristen Chenoweth's. But then again, Megan Hilty's wig was a different shade of blonde. The Wicked production team is always tailoring these costumes and wigs and makeup to be flattering to whoever's wearing them, which is, you know, big props, because going back to like what Tori said with Phantom of the Opera, sorry, Rebecca Kane wore the same wig as Sarah Brightman, as Claire Moore, as, you know, and all these girls have different face shapes. And some of those wigs look like they got them at Party City, a shake and go Belle wig from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh boy, this is why we're Oz Talk. It's so true. And you know, I think, you know, you see where money goes in limited budget productions and things, but it's very interesting. Let's now talk about the film adaptation, because there's a lot of speculation and hope. We're talking about design here, and everybody has a different approach to what Oz looks like and means to them. How reminiscent of MGM? How do you interpret Baum's page to screen world? We saw the verite depiction of Return to Oz in 1985's Disney, you know, which was all filmed outside and on location, not all, but a lot of. And then we saw in MGM's classic completely on sound stages with the candy color. So of course you can't please everyone. Certain things are going to be done differently. We know that Wicked is being filmed in the UK on new sound stages, and it will be very interesting to see if there are nods visually to MGM or to what Oz looks like, how real or how manufactured, how much CGI, the rest of it. Oz the Great and Powerful, story aside, casting aside, because I know we all disagree about that. Visually, that land of Oz was immense, and parts of it I'm sure any of us would like to visit. But let's take a look at this unauthorized live adaptation of Defying Gravity. An independent filmmaker decided to direct his own scene of Defying Gravity with two wonderful singers. He spent about 15 months doing the special effects on a very limited budget. And there's a lot to like about this, a lot to criticize, but I think what's most impressive is that someone just did it. Someone had the notion and the idea and the concept, went with it. The one thing I want you to look out for is the unexplainable cutaway reaction shots of babies at the end, but enjoy this clip, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Alfie, wait! Where are you going? Oh no, there are no more stairs. Alphaba, listen to me! The guards are coming up. We have to barricade the door. What? Well, don't just stand there! Why couldn't you have just stayed calm for once instead of flying off the handle? I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now. I hope you're happy how you hurt your cause forever. I hope you think you're clever. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy too. I hope you're proud how you would grovel in submission to feed your own ambition. So though I can't imagine how, I hope you're happy right now.
Citizens of Oz, there is an enemy who must be found and captured. Believe nothing she says. She is evil, responsible for the mutilation of these poor, innocent monkeys.
Oh no.
Her green skin is but a manifestorium of her twisted nature. This distortion, this repulsion, this wicked witch.
Don't be afraid. I'm not. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Open this door in the name of His Supreme Ozness.
Alfie, listen to me. Just say you're sorry before it's too late. You can still be with the wizard. What you've worked and waited for, you can have all you ever wanted. I know. But I don't want it. No, I can't want it anymore. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts, close my eyes, and leap. Time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. Can't I make you understand? You're having delusions of grandeur. I'm through accepting limits, 'cause someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I'd lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. I'd sooner die defying gravity. Kiss me goodbye, I'm defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. Come with me. Think of what we could do together. Unlimited. Together we're unlimited. Together we'll be the greatest team there's ever been. Glinda, dreams the way we planned them. If we work in tandem, there's no fight we cannot win. Just you and I. never bring us down. Well, are you coming?
I hope you're happy now that you're choosing this.
You too. I hope it brings you bliss. I really hope you get it, and you don't live to regret it. I hope you're happy in the end. I hope you're happy, my friend. What? No! Stop! Leave me alone here! Let go of me! She has nothing to do with it! I'm the one you want! It's me! Elsie, no! So if you can't find me up to the western sky, as someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I am defying gravity. I'm flying, I'm defying gravity, and soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me
I mean, there were some really
Oh my gosh.
some great bold choices there. Her disappearing in magic at the end, the levitating broom, seeing her fly out, as opposed to, one of the things we only see in the show is, and it gives you the chills in the theater, is the vertical line of from stage, to up in the air, that defying gravity, but it's just straight up on one note. And then it's just lighting and her arms waving. Here we got to see a lot of brilliant movement, and so many interesting, bold choices here. Of course, we can criticize things. I think the two obvious things with anything that's a challenge in filmmaking is lighting and sound. And those are the two things that are the biggest giveaways of budget. But I think there's so much good here. I'm so impressed by the love and the tenacity and the talent behind everything about this. Tori, what do you think?
Well, okay, so obviously they didn't have a huge special effects budget. That was obvious in that last push there in the, the "it's me" when she flew out the window. But the choice to have she and Glinda levitate, the fact that they empowered Glinda as well to find that magic within, and that Glinda actively rejects it. What a directorial choice. My goodness. I'm blown away. Talk about not painting by numbers. That really took a lot of risks in terms of storytelling, and I'm impressed.
Very cool. Zoe?
I want to start by saying I love Elphaba in a jumpsuit. Practical witches, great idea. I'm always here for it. I really liked it. It's funny because it's popped up on my news feed on Facebook probably 100 times in the last week, and I keep ignoring it because I kept thinking, this is going to be someone squelting in their kitchen or in their living room, And then it actually, to see this and see that it's actually like a well thought out cinematic piece. Like you said, there's some things that could be, picked on, but overall it looks amazing for what it is, and I really enjoyed it, and I would love to see more from this team. I'd like to see them tackle a few of the other numbers.
The whole movie, a fan film. Christopher Castano, a guest co-host of ours and friend and club member, says hello. He's watching, and he pointed out the Madamorable hologram, which I thought was absolutely brilliant as well. Garrett, what are your thoughts?
I actually, the hologram was the thing that I thought was the coolest idea of getting it out there, because Baum's World was sort of a preeminent to a lot of the technology. So seeing that sort of integration with sort of an old world mix, but sort of a modern mix, like I'm here for that. Like the whole steampunk thing is just, I'm all good with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for being on such a small budget, they did a really remarkably good job. They made some very interesting, sometimes odd directorial choices, but mostly they seemed fairly solid. I enjoyed it. I'd kind of like to see him do more.
I mean, but am I the only one that was like, okay, whose baby is that you had but close up in at the end? Like, really, just
the children thing was a little weird. It sort of made me think a little bit about the Wiz film with Glinda and the star babies behind her.
That, and also kind of a little bit like a Michael Jackson video. I was like, what's going on here?
Now, here's how it read to me. Notice that the adults are looking at her in fear, and the kids are looking at her in awe. I think it's supposed to be that she's inspiring people to say, hey, we don't have to live by these rules. We don't have to live under this wizard. I think they were trying to make a point about be the change you want to see in the world. And these kids are like, oh my gosh, we can be flying witches over the Emerald City too. Yeah. Like as a kid, I would have been like, yes, that's
As an adult, I'm that way.
Yeah. Let's not forget that in Gregory Maguire's book, she is the leader of a rebellious movement. So she had cohorts in her move. It would not actually be outside of the realm of possibility that she would be an inspiration to some who are also displeased with the way the world is run, which we don't get a taste of in the musical because we don't get time.
I agree.
That's what I was curious with the movie to see how much of the book gets brought back into it. Because I kind of get the vibe that that's one of the things that they're wanting to do is pull in some more of the book. And I'll be very curious to see how. And I don't even really know what specifically gives me that vibe. It's just a vibe I've got.
Puppet show.
I don't know. I don't know that that's the case. I hope that's the case as well. Personally, I would be delighted by that. I do know that there are about 3 new songs potentially, and that some songs were cut. I don't know which. Or cut down, and of course changes could still be made in post, right? But the other thing about this Defying Gravity clip that I found really interesting was the depiction of, and I'm just being really nitpicky here because we're discussing it and that's what we're here for today, is that the depiction of the Emerald City inside the room, and also when she flew outside. I would have liked to have seen more green, just maybe not possible with what they were doing, and that would have been, I think, really cool. And also maybe in the crowd, some animals, because part of, speaking of, the children and the adults, but part of that political force that in the story, in the book for sure, and in the stage play that she's fighting for is for the rights of animals to speak and to be, fully embraced as citizens in addition to the human people. Right. So that I think those are just some little touches, the green color and animals that I would have liked to just make it a little bit more wicked.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying maybe they were conspicuously missing the animals on purpose because at this point in the story, Dr. Dillinan's been taken away. True. The monkeys were in cages. So I think it's almost saying like, look, we've taken all the animals out of Emerald City. This is just for humans and normal Ozians.
Totally.
Yes, dramaturgically, it wouldn't, I mean, for a one-off individual, but if they're wanting to try and keep as much context to it, the animals are all at this point, they're underground or they're out in the forest of Burzee and things like that.
Imagine the visual impact if while she is above the Emerald City, we cut to animals being led away in chains and looking up at her and seeing there's hope yet for the future of Oz. Oh, stop.
John Chu, call us.
Yeah. We're all ready.
I'll work for sale.
We'll be a team of dramaturgs, Yeah,
we'll contribute to the budget. I'll give you $10 cash, John Chu, toward the budget of the film if I can contribute. It's been really fun. It's gonna, and I think we're gonna see more. We saw so much wonderful, and we've shared previously on Oz Talk fan art of Ariana and Cynthia as Glinda and Elphaba. And so it's going to be, I think, just so much more fun as the film gets closer. I mean, I can't wait for those, maybe it will be Entertainment Weekly releasing the first look photograph of costuming or, green Cynthia Erivo. Like, I feel like I'm going to be framing it up on this wall the minute I can get something like that, so there's so much to look forward to.
I'm hoping for I don't want to say I'm hoping for set leaks because I know that's problematic but like, I remember when the first look of people behind the scenes were getting paparazzi shots of the cast of Hocus Pocus too. I'm like, I want that for Wicked. I want extras with cell phones getting things first.
Yeah.
But I'm sure those cell phones are confiscated before shooting, so we won't probably see that.
Old Brazil Aussians. Ola from Brazil. I'm sorry. Oh, hello from Brazil. I was like reading the comments aloud. Sorry, as I'm interpreting. Hello, thank you. Wow, we truly are the International Wizard of Oz Club. And to that end, please leave in the comments anything you'd like to see us discuss in upcoming episodes of Oz Talk. This has been so much fun to get back. We're going to be back on our once monthly schedule to start this year, maybe doing more again in the future. But thank you so much. And Zoe, will you let everyone know how to join the Oz Club, why to join the Oz Club, and where to go to join the Oz Club?
Absolutely. I haven't done this in a couple of months, so I might be a little rusty. But to join the Oz Club, all you've got to do is go to ozclub.org. There's a big button right there at the top. You can join the club. And while you're there, you might as well go ahead and take Ozma's sorting game and find out whether you're a Munchkin or a Winky, a Quadling, or a Gillikin. It's so much fun. There's so many great interactive features once you sign up. We've now got an interactive community where you can chat with Oz fans in different groups about different subjects. So whether you love the books or the movies or the plays or any other little bits of Oz, you can join in, chat with your fellow Ozians. And plus, you get the Bomb Bugle 3 times a year. Who doesn't want to get that? It's a wonderful magazine. It's a journal all about the world of Oz, both scholarly, fan-based. It's wonderful. There's something for everyone. So please visit ozclub.org and sign up today. And hopefully we'll see you at one of our virtual events or the national convention coming up in August.